The walls slowly cave in now. The room's gone quite dim. Sol sits in her chair in the bland room alone, almost dead, awake, and still dreaming. Dreams that she doesn't understand and hopes to never do so. Dreams that answer questions of which she never asked. Who she was, why she was there, and who and why all of it was there. All information she had stolen from others. Now she was punished. There was no point to any of it. They could have stayed home. She didn't have to be here, but she was. Politicians and government officials, along with the media, drove their race to near extinction and its peak of insanity. There were other solutions, other ways to survive, but no. Instead, they ship everyone off in massive vessels 12 times the size of cities, and move everyone to a new home. They would have destroyed their old home, and this one they will still destroy, only sooner yet. Dear Sheila, I'm on my way home now. I'm on a train that gets me there in no more than 3 days' time. However, while I will still arrive to you soon, covered in joyful smiles and tears that waited to shed until I was home again, I bring with me unwelfaring news. I must return back to the facility. No more testing, but to gain and retain knowledge needed for the expedition. I'm in charge of letters sent back and forth from lovers to one another, more importantly, from you to me. And I need you to go with me. You are being my partner in life, and a wonderful person smarter than I could ever hope to be. Have been requested to travel along my side, watch over my body, and help with the ship. I'm sorry, I know you don't want to leave as soon as I arrive, but they need me now. In a short span, the first fleet of vessels will take flight, and our journey begins. See you soon, Albin. Albin, I can't. I'm sorry. I haven't told you sooner, but I won't go. I can't go with you. Now, my mother, she's died, and I won't leave home. I will remain here by her side. You can go find someone else if you need to, but I won't go. They can't force me to leave my mother's grave. I'm sorry, but this is probably the end. Sheila. The train pulled into the station. Thick clouds of white steam rolled off the top as it slowed to a stop. A young man emerged from the final car, briefcase and papers in hands, a case full of papers and plans, and calculations to further the progress of humanity. He rides the train not to travel but to work on, for the comfort, the service, and the view. He wasn't a scientist, he wasn't an engineer, he was a writer with plans for giant ships to travel his humanity into his deep space, his plans and concepts of which would change the world. Massive ships were constructed, giant white beasts of steel and wires, of which could hold each 2,500 men. They towered over the world as the new greatest feat of civilization. Aboard were people, some asleep, who stored information and memories computers could not hold. Beside them were their partners. They watched over them and the ships, destined to die once the vessels arrived. Aboard a vessel was a girl who once slept and soon would forever do so. A thief of knowledge, driven mad by dreams. Soon she would sleep. Dear Albin, that was how the letters would go. Some of many letters the girl stored in her head. Love, hatred, and death, and sorrow. And for what? For this. For expansion beyond disbelief for those who came before them. The ships returned home to gather more, and collect the remnants of what was left behind, and to drop off the dead. Not the one dead girl, but the thousands of men and women dead. Millions of miles away, they rejoiced. They survived. Dear Albin, I'm so sorry I did not go with you. I miss you, and I love you, and I miss you even more. I await your return every day now, but I know you'll never be back. I'm sorry. Love, Sheila. The wind blew that message across the world, searching for its recipient. But he was not there. He was never there. The last letter, the last note to be documented, the last one to be read, stored in a young girl's mind looking for another. a story trapped in one and longing for another, a love trapped in the dark, mindless mind of the dead, longing for another. The air was cold, still, and silent. It was sunset now. A single tree grew on a lonesome hill where she sat. She sat, read through anything she could remember, the stories, love letters, and tales that were trapped in her mind forever and always. She didn't want to come to this, but she had no choice. She couldn't live any longer bearing the thoughts of what had happened before, knowing that she tried and failed at stopping them. It was her time. Dear Albin, dear Sheila, love, Sheila, love, Albin. A love story, a series of love letters, whatever you want to call it, was the last thing she could recite. It played through her mind like a broken record, repeating over and over countless times while she sat there, waiting. It made her cry, it made her smile. It was anything she ever wanted. Her story intertwined with their own. If only she had been smarter. If only she hadn't stolen it. If only it was his again. If only he could remember. But no, it was hers now. It didn't belong to her, but it was hers. The sun now set for the final time over the cracked earth, with no one to watch it. Almost a fifth of itself has been gone now for over a year. Its people, its cities, its stories, and its accomplishments. All of it was gone. All that remained was a sad piece of paper, flying, floating, waiting. Still yet not found.